Welcome to the very first episode of Banking On, a new series where we deep dive into the big questions shaping the future of commercial banking. In each episode, we'll speak to a different expert on the emerging trends, innovative strategies, and evolving ways banks are supporting their clients. I'm Alex Montgomery, and I'm thrilled to kick off this series with Tom Stoddart, Managing Director, Head of Markets for the Business and Commercial Banking Division at Lloyds Bank. Tom, it's a pleasure to have you here with us.
Thank you very much for having me. Lovely to be here.
I think we should dive right in.
Sure.
We all know commercial banking is at a fascinating crossroads, and we've got technology advancing at an unprecedented pace. So a big picture question to start. What do you see as the most transformative shift in banking?
I'll start with looking backwards, if that's all right.
Mm-hmm.
So 17 years in the world of commercial banking. It's evolved more in the last 5 years than it did in the previous 12. And I think it will evolve significantly more in the next 5 to 10 than it has in the last 5. The introduction of AI being an obvious one. I know it's the obvious buzzword, but it's such a fundamentally transformative technology, both from a large language model perspective as well as agentic AI, is going to transform client experiences as well as generate operational efficiency for not just financial institutions, but all corporates or all names across the globe. Is an extremely exciting technology. So I think I had in mind 4 subject matters that I was going to run with. AI is definitely huge. I'd say the fintech ecosystem model. So I think that's had an evolving path over the last 5 to 10 years, where I'm seeing the most exciting outputs of the bank fintech partnership model is where individual partners, and I include banks in that, are recognizing that they're specialists in their field. Right, so banks are terrific in terms of the data they have, the trust they have, the brand that they have, and their ability to manage wholesale risk, manage balance sheets. But the delivery of end-to-end journeys needs to incorporate the best-in-class fintech partners that are in the market. And those partners are recognizing where they fit and are open to the concept of collaborating together with large organizations, institutions, banks to deliver best-in-class client experiences and client journeys. So that's definitely a big one. The third, I would say, is business banking, or small and medium-sized business lending. That's going to evolve enormously over the next few years. It's going to be genuinely transformative in terms of credit scoring, automated credit decisioning, at time to cash. So if you ask small businesses, they would probably place the speed with which they can get the cash in line in terms of the priority list of the price of accessing that capital. And the evolution of that model. So if I look at the mechanism by which small business can access cash of merchant cash advances or invoice finance, there are so many to go through. I think that world is going to get simplified quite significantly in terms of how and how fast those small corporates get access to that cash and the mechanisms by which they can do it. I can see a defragmentation of that over time. And then the fourth is cross-border payments. So cross-border payments will get unequivocally revolutionized over the next 5 to 10 years. SWIFT, SEPA, the obvious, I suppose I could call them even today in 2025, traditional rails will still definitely be in place. But new DLT technologies, the stable coins that float on top of that, and the mechanism by which frictionless cross-jurisdiction payments can be made instantly is going to be a huge transformative change over the next few years. And it's all incredibly exciting because ultimately the deployment of these technologies will deliver better client experiences and client journeys, which is what ultimately we're all aiming for.
Yes, and I think you make a good point and a great segue to the next question, which is how have client expectations changed and what will banks be doing to adapt those expectations?
Lots is the answer. So if I start with big tech, my wife will often say what's going on? My phone is listening to me. No, my phone isn't listening to me. The point I'm making is that the journey towards pinpointed, hyper-personalized content and delivery of products and services has been proven to be successful by the big tech firms, the obvious candidates. And the financial institution market is starting to learn from that, to say, in an environment where historically, I think we have, there's been an expectation of clients to join up banks and non-banks propositions to deliver the ultimate client journey they're serving for, which is, I want to import from China, I want to export to Brazil, I want to manage my funding, I want to do, there's a stepping back and looking at the actual client journey rather than how it's delivered by financial services institutions, has evolved enormously, driven by big tech in terms of say, hyper-personalization. That will continue to evolve because the expectations are there, the needs, and actually, frankly, the wants are there. So making sure that we are working with the right partners, both internally and externally, to use the data that we've got to make sure we're talking to the right client about the right product at the right time, but also through the right channel. And in many cases, that will still be face-to-face, because ultimately, if it's something complex, people buy things from people that they like. And therefore, people will still very much be part of the omni-channel experience, as will digital distribution, but they will, we will need to get into a place where we're using the data to enhance that propensity analysis to make sure that we are red hot in terms of being there for when our clients need us in the moments of truth.
Yeah. And I think it sounds like personalization is going to be one of the key innovative trends that will continue to be refined. Aside from that, what else do you think will be some of the most promising innovations coming from commercial banking within client services?
Ecosystems, and more ecosystems. I think that's but both in terms of how clients experience their interactions with financial institutions, but also how their financial institutions recognize that their products and services need to be deployed at where the point of sale is, rather than necessarily where the financial institution is, which part of which is making sure, as per the earlier point, that every piece in the puzzle is best in class to be able to deliver that, and making sure that if you are a FD, treasurer, MD of a small and medium-sized business, you have a digital experience that is the window to seeing everything that's going on within your business, leveraging that data and making sure that, particularly post-budget, where a lot of customers are looking at operational efficiency, to let them run leaner treasuries, to let them focus on their business rather than how they manage their finances from a day-to-day business, by using all of the prongs that are available of the API suite that we've got and other ledgers and architecture that we've got, rather than looking at one each in turn, using an interface that can bring everything into one place and leverage that data to make sure they've got access to whatever they need at any one point in time, is number one. And then the second is, depending on the industry, not necessarily being the user interface of how clients interact with financial services, but actually embedding it in how they deliver their products and services to their clients as a value add. So e-commerce name or retailer or whatever it may be, should in an embedded finance world, should the point of sale or should the access of financial services and products be at the point of sale rather than having to go to your local branch or log online, I think is a very important evolution in terms of what clients expect as well. So this concept of I see financial services products as a second order effect of what I'm trying to achieve. Therefore, I want to access them at the point of sale rather than having an intermediary of a bank as an extra step is is a requirement going forwards in terms of client expectations.
You also mentioned AI earlier in our conversation. So what do you think the role of AI is going to play in the future of commercial and business banking?
Huge is the answer, but I would split it into two. One's relatively straightforward, and one I think has some question marks over it. The first is driving operational efficiency through AI, i.e. taking your internal processes and systems and increasing your operational efficiency with the deployment of AI. That's relatively harmless as long as you test it well enough, and because you already understand the process, you understand the procedure, to be able to drive significant efficiencies. And you could argue there's almost enough to be done there for the next however long. And then the second is large language models and deployment of things like chatbots, and making sure that the simple stuff for being on all the time through digital channels so clients can self-serve is really important. Propensity analysis, again, internally, of saying, let's really understand what the client needs are from multiple different data sources so we can deliver those products and services. Also, AI has a huge applicability. And then there's things like agentic AI, which has the propensity to be game-changing, but it needs, given that it's self-proposing and self-thinking, needs to make sure that it has a robust ethics model around it, a robust compliance risk framework, and be orchestrated in such a way that it's a test and learn process and iterative to make sure that everybody's comfortable with its deployment rather than any kind of mass scale, which is inevitably how most organizations are looking at it. So lots of areas of exciting deployment with varying degrees of governance, I think, and risk attached to each one.
Yeah, right. I can expect that we'll see lots of change from all those different areas in the coming months and years, although much quicker than I'm sure we all expect.
Yeah.
But what a great way to conclude our conversation. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for the time.
It's a pleasure.
We hope to have you on again soon.
Look forward to it.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks very much.